here he is, without further ado, Ruthless Robbie Lawler. Robbie, how are you?
What's up? I'm good. How you guys doing? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I can't believe you're doing the show. I know how much you love doing interviews, so I'm a little bit shocked right now. I'm at a loss for words. I'm stumbling on my words because I'm so nervous before this.
Yeah, I don't do these very often, but I guess now's the time, right?
Yes, I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much for doing this. Um, are you over July 8th? I mean, that was emotional stuff. Have you come to, it's been a couple of weeks now, but are you still feeling the buzz from how special and magical that weekend was?
No, I'm like on to the next thing. It's hard for me to like stay in that mindset and like absorb that. But I mean, it was a good event. But now it's like, what next?
Yeah. How quickly did you kind of get over it? Was it like Monday morning, you were like, all right, back to normal
Uh,
life?
yeah, pretty much. I think a buddy of mine sent like I don't know, like a some sort of article that was written, and I was like reading. It was a good article, but I was like, I don't need to read this. Like, I'm glad people appreciate what I've done, but like I'm kind of on to the next one. I'm not like, that's just how I am. I'm not really going to change anything. Just bring that same mindset to coaching, and that's it. I'm on to the next.
In terms of all the love and admiration and attention on you that week, did it make you feel uncomfortable?
Uh, no, it didn't make me feel uncomfortable. It was one of those things that I would never like allow myself to kind of look back at like my career because I'm like always on to the next. But like when a couple times I got asked a couple questions, kind of like about that whole road, and I was like, oh man, it's freaking been a long ride, and like just seeing who I've become over that long time span, just it was a lot. I've never really allowed myself to focus on what I've accomplished or those types of things because it's like, all right, on to the next thing. How can you get better? How can you sharpen your skills? Like that's kind of always been my mindset, and I always try to just keep level headed, and so I don't really go ups and downs with admiration and fans being excited about me because I just keep everything just so focused, and it's just different to allow myself to let that in a little bit for that last fight.
In retrospect, do you wish you did that more throughout your career? You know, take it all in, smell the roses, all that stuff.
No, not really, because I would be who I am today. But it's just like one of those things where it's I use that as like a mechanism to stay level headed and kind of like be able to stay who I am this whole time. Like, because you never know if you're going to win or lose, or sometimes the crowd's behind you, sometimes the fans are behind you, and sometimes you're not doing well. So, like, I just doesn't matter what anyone's saying, it just matters where I'm going and what I think about myself. And that's kind of what I've always focused on. It's like, it's kind of weird. Like, I don't really care what people say about me. That's just how I've always been because it's just like, I can't control that, but I can control like my preparation and where I'm going and where I'm headed. So that's what I've always tried to focus on. But it's definitely nice that the fans appreciate everything I've done, and it's definitely weird for me to not be doing it anymore. I mean, this has been my life for so many years, and I've just put so much into this, and the sport's given so much to me, and so plan on giving back.
And I want to ask you about that in a moment, but I'm just curious, like you always struck me as the kind of guy who would retire by just like walking away and disappearing, not really telling us in advance so that all this hullabaloo could be made and all this attention could be made. But why did you decide? I mean, you didn't really announce it. I think the UFC kind of said it on your behalf, but to let us know beforehand as opposed to like kind of doing it out of nowhere so that everyone could be caught off guard.
Yeah, that was my plan, just kind of just like be gone, and but I just felt like this wasn't kind of about me a little bit. I mean, it's my career, but it's like I feel like the fans and the people around me and people who supported me would want a little bit more. So I let Dana know a couple, like a month or two before the fight, and he said, "All right." So just, and that's where it went. I just knew I wouldn't. You know me, I'm just kind of like a whatever. I'm done kind of thing,
Yes.
and Dana put together something really good, really special for me, and I'm happy that they did.
I was wondering how you felt about the Hall of Fame stuff. I mean, I've never seen you stand up there and give a speech like that before, and you did a great job. How comfortable did you feel up there doing that 2 days before your fight?
Uh, I would say it was definitely weird for me. I would say that prompter in front of me was moving fast, but really it was like cliff notes anyway. So it was like, all right, make sure I touch on anyone who helped me for this fight or that. So I already had everything kind of, I knew what I was going to say about each individual. So it was definitely weird for me to be up there and it seemed like it went so fast. But I mean, I'm sure the more times you do stuff, the better you get. So maybe I just need more practice
Yeah.
in front of a prompter.
No, you did a great job. I just didn't know if you, as great of a moment as it was, I didn't know if you felt like it was a nuisance because you're trying to get ready for battle, right? Your last fight, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what happened was is I knew this was going to happen. I wasn't sure. I didn't ask any questions. So I knew this was going to be my last fight and I wanted to enjoy it. So I got my weight down early. Just was professional about it. So I didn't have to worry about anything. So then they were like, "Hey, we're just going to record your speech on Wednesday." And I was like, "What?" I was like, then I went there and they were going to record. I was like, why do they want me to do this? Well, we just figured you wanted to. I'm like, yeah. And then they kind of explained the whole process of it. And then I was like, yeah, I want to be involved. I'd be taking the picture with all the other Hall of Famers up there. It's definitely a good experience. And I wanted to be there for Jen's. I slept on his couch many times. I was a roommate of his. I mean, I'm very excited about him getting into the Hall of Fame. And I just wanted to be a part of it and enjoy it. So yeah, I was all good. I mean, I've cut weight so many times. I mean, just easy for me.
Any part of you kind of wish that Rory was there as well?
Uh, yeah, it would have been nice, but that's not who he is right now. He's kind of a lot like me. He kind of like stays out of the limelight, just wants to go out there, fight, and kind of hang out with his family and relax. But I understand, but it'd been nice to see him there. I mean, but whatever.
Yeah, it's all good. No, yeah, he's completely. I don't even. I think he like deleted his social media and whatnot, so he's completely like off the map. And more power to him. It was wild to see you as you were walking into the cage and to see the emotion on your face. Have you ever experienced anything like that right before a fight?
Uh, No, not really, because it was more like, all right, let's enjoy this, let's embrace this moment, and this is the last time. Just kind of like enjoying it. It's been a long road, and just trying. I mean, sometimes you're just so focused on the fight. I was more focused on every aspect of this, like just walking in there, feeling the crowd, listening to Buffer do his stuff. So it's just like, yeah, I've never done that because I'm always focused on just fighting and how I feel.
Were you worried that the emotions would affect you at all in a negative way?
No. I didn't feel that good going into that whole week or this whole camp, but like was trying to take a nap about 2 o'clock before the fight, and then something popped in my head. I'm like, okay, I'm good to go.
Huh.
That's it. Just something popped in my head, and I'm like, oh, I got this. It's gonna be. I feel good. So then, like in the back, I just felt good. Like all of a sudden, everything clicked, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I feel great. So this guy's in trouble.
When you say something popped in your head, what do you mean by that?
Just like a positive, like affirmation, just like something really good. I was like, oh, this is freaking okay. I'm good. Just like because I
Wow.
was actually trying to take a nap and like do some recovery stuff, and I'm like, as soon as that popped in my head, I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm ready to go, and just rode that into the fight. Really.
Were you stressed at all because of the last? Like you wanted to go out with a win, right?
Yeah, definitely want to go out with a win, but I wanted to feel good going in. It was like, all right, like if I feel good, anybody's in trouble. That's how I always look at it. So I'm like, oh man, my freaking body's not feeling this or that. And it's like, all right, I feel great. And
Hmm.
then That's really what it was. That's why I always like everyone's always focused on the other guy. I've always been focused on myself. If I feel great, then I think I'm going to do well. It's like and if you don't feel great, then you just still have to figure out how to get the job done. So it's like, that's always been my focus, how I feel, how I need to get the job done with whatever my issue is.
Your walkout song has become one of the best. Hold on, I'm coming. You didn't walk out to that this time. How come?
Yep. I don't know, just kind of like different phases, different songs. I just felt like the Last Mohicans songs, just how it is. End of an era, just like how it is. I mean, just that's the feel I had.
Did you expect, like in the back of your mind, did you think it would be that quick? Did you feel like that was a strong possibility?
I had no idea really because I didn't really watch much tape on him. I just kind of worked on myself. But then when I was like moving and I felt how hard I was punching in the back, and I was like, okay. And then when I was moving during the fight, I'm like, okay, like let's not give this guy a chance to like get going. And then I just kind of like went at it and went well. I just landed some good shots on the right spots, and I still have power.
The finish was great. Your post fight reaction was probably even better for people who've been watching you for a long time. Could you possibly put into words, like when it sunk in, that's how your final fight ended, and now like it's all coming to an end, and the emotion that you should like, could you put into words how you were feeling in that moment, and the love that you were getting from the crowd too?
I think it was more a thing of gratitude for like everything that I've accomplished and everything that I've been able to do, and just being on that stage this late in my career and everything I went through. It was kind of like when I was on the ground, kind of on my knees, it was like just feeling grateful for being blessed to be able to accomplish everything have done, and just everything that I have in life was hard work, but just being grateful for it is that was really the moment. Just seeing it, feeling it, and feeling good.
Did you know that they were going to play that video package while you were in the cage?
No, I had no idea. I guess my wife was like, "Hey, there's this video. You want to watch it?" I'm like, "Oh no." That was like earlier in the week. I'm like, "No, I don't really care about anything." But so it's actually better that I didn't watch it. So, yeah, I had no ideas. It was actually funny just to see like how I progressed and like just different fights, and kind of cool.
Yeah,
Really cool, actually.
very cool. Like they never do that for anyone. And I mean, it was just like they'll sometimes play it as you're walking out, but like you being in the cage with Rogan and everyone getting to watch it with you, that was super rare stuff. And very, appropriate and deserving. And I know you know that, right? Like this doesn't happen. And so I was wondering what you were thinking in the moment. Like probably you're watching it, but all eyes were on you, and you're getting emotional as well. Did you enjoy it? Were you hoping that it would end? Like, because I know you never really loved that sort of stuff, and so here you are, like everyone's
Yeah,
just showering you with love.
yeah. No, I was just kind of like embracing the moment. It's actually really good because it just like able to see my career from the start to finish with different highlights is like, man, just remembering like, because I don't really I don't look back at my career like, remember that time, remember this. When I look back at my career, I don't really remember these fights. I remember people I've seen and like stuff I did for those camps, people who helped me, but just like to see some of those things and just be reminded of like some of these moments. And I just laugh at myself when I had hair,
Yeah,
just like how wild I used to fight, just like how not refined I was, and just it's cool,
it was
really
amazing.
cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. I'm just wondering, that went so well. Was there any part of you afterwards just like, man, maybe I have one or two left in me?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have more left in me. It's just it's one of those things where it's like you figure it out. I just can't do as much as I used to. Is the thing. Like I can't train the way I want to train. Like when I'm like the guy who likes to do extra.
Mm.
And like now it's like, hey, just relax. You know how to fight. Let's just get you to the fight. So that's the hard part for me because I'm like, I like to work. I like to work out. I like to lift. I like to do all these things. And I have this checklist, and that checklist is too much.
When
So
when did it become too much? Like when did you start to feel like the body was not, reacting like it once did?
uh well, it reacts fine. It's just that I just can't like do these 3 a days, these 4 days, these long days. I mean I can, but then I'm out for a day or two and have to rest and I'm not recovered. So just finding that balance and realizing, hey, you don't need to do that much. You don't. So it's just those types of things. As you get older, you just figure out a way to get the job done. And it's more of a mindset. A lot of times you're working out to make sure you're ready. And I realized during this camp, hey man, you're ready. Let's just be good on that Saturday. That's
Mhm.
it. You only need to be really good on that Saturday. So like go through the motions, try to sharpen everything up, but really it only matters how good you are on that Saturday.
You know what it's like in combat sports? People retire all the time and they come back. Can you say definitively you'll never fight again?
Yeah, no, I'm a fighter. I will never gonna say that. It's just like, but I'm in a good place, and I mean, you never know, but I feel good.
Okay.
I feel good, and I mean, I'm not training. I mean, I'm lifting, I'm running, I'm keeping myself in shape, but yeah, I don't see it happening.
You don't think that you'll get that itch in a year or two and say, maybe one more, a boxing match, something like that?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say no, but because you never know.
Yeah.
Like I feel great, and I know how to train at my old age to be ready for one day
Right.
and be sharp for one day. So I mean, and it's always fun. That's actually what I enjoy about sports in general is how can you be as good as you can for a certain day and a certain bout, or how can you? I love tweaking things and like being a scientist of my own freaking body and like trying to, all right, I need to have this, I need to do this, and like figuring out a way to get the job done. And it's like nutrition, it's recovery. So I'm always going to be doing those things. So nothing's really changing in that aspect. I'm just doing it for the fun of it.
And so is the next step for you coaching? Is that what you're going to be doing primarily now?
Yeah, just coaching at Kill Cliff FC. A lot of good fighters. I mean, I didn't get where I am today by not getting help from good coaches and good training partners. So it's just giving them a little technique and a little push here and there so that make their life a little easier and use my knowledge to help others.
Will you be looking after a certain set of fighters or just kind of available for everyone? Like, how does that work over there at the gym?
Uh, I'm if I mean, I'll help everyone really, but it's like how much effort am I going to put into a guy has to do with him and his abilities and how much he's ready to absorb and if he's willing to absorb. So it's like finding that balance and like different guys like different coaches and different things. So it's like figure out what each fighter needs something different. So like if I can help somebody, I will. If I can't, then I'll stay away. It's just one of those things, just like a fight, like
Mhm.
figuring out, tweaking, and making yourself a better coach and trying to make these guys better fighters.
Just want to ask you a couple things about your career, and then I'll let you go. Again, thank you so much for
Yep.
the time. I appreciate it. You may not have an answer, but just curious. Do you have a favorite knockout? I have a favorite one of yours that I would be
Mm,
happy to share. But do you have a favorite knockout?
Uh, not really. No.
Melvin Manhoef to me is, I mean, like the way your leg was going there in that fight, and then you coming back, and the to me it's Manhoef and Matt Lindland. Those two are one and two, and honestly, like two of my top 10 favorite, both of them. But if I had to pick one, it'd be
Yeah.
Melvin Manhoef.
Yeah, that's really. I actually like the Lindland one too. My hands were feeling pretty good then, but yeah, that Manhoff was a rough fight for a little bit.
Your leg, like, did that kill the way your leg was going like all the way up here?
Yeah, it was. I was just going with it because I mean, he's kicking so hard. That was before I really knew how to check kicks, and I didn't expect him. I expected hands first, and then him to finish with legs. He started with legs first, and then finished with hands. So just yeah, I had to get surgery. Tore my meniscus after that fight, but it was like the first couple times I'm like okay, and when I felt it like crunch, I was like took a step. I'm like okay, I can walk. We're good. Let's keep going.
That
You're
is
just like assessing the whole time, like, and okay, yep, you're good. Like everything's attached, everything's fine.
that is unbelievable. The Strike Force run was interesting. Like that's when you started to grow out the hair and the beard and everything. And there was the one scene where you were sleeping at the press conference, and it just sort of felt like the motivation wasn't there before you got to the UFC. What would have happened if the UFC didn't buy Strike Force and you weren't able to find your way back? Do you think that the career would have ended sooner?
No, I don't think the career would have ended sooner. It just would have been, it would have been different. I mean, because I enjoyed fighting. I did not enjoy waking up to go to a press conference when I wanted to be sleeping so that they could ask questions to everyone. Actually, just I think Fedor.
Yeah.
So like everyone's there, and it's like, okay, I don't care then, but I'm tired. But yeah, it's just like not a good look, anyways. Unprofessional, but I mean, you live and learn.
Yeah. But do you would it have bothered you if you never got that UFC title?
Uh, I don't think it would have, but everything aligned at the right time. It was funny because I was outside the UFC,
Yeah.
just like having fun, training, and just watching everyone in the UFC. Like, okay, I match up good against this guy, I match up good against that guy. That's where I want to be. So it was going to happen eventually, but it it's kind of weird when you're on the outside looking in. It was like they were at a disadvantage because I was watching them. They weren't really. I don't doubt they were really paying attention to me. I was like, okay, like just wait until I go back down to 170 and see. So blessings. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just how it worked out.
One of my favorite underrated moments of yours happened just a couple of years ago. I haven't talked to you since. Just wanted to ask you about the moment after you fought Nick Diaz again. It was caught on camera. You just sort of asking him, "Are you good?" And I love that moment because it was like from one fighter to another, just asking another if they're doing well. Can I ask you what you remember from that moment and why you felt the need to ask him that question in the cage right after the fight?
Uh, I don't know. It just felt like the right time. I mean, I've always had respect for Diaz. Like he just comes to fight, and it was like he had been out for so long, coming back, and there's talk about issues or this and that, and it's like, all right, like the fighting's gonna be done. Like it's like win or lose, but how are you doing? Kind of thing. And I just wanted him to know, and just I wanted to know, like, are you good? Is there anything I can do to help you, kind of thing, or collaborate on anything? And I mean, that's just how sports should be. I mean, it's all about respect in the end. I believe
Mm.
martial arts. I think life really it's like all about respect. You go out there, you freaking go to battle, you freaking do your best, and when when the game or the fight's over, it's that's it. Like it's let's go back to living our lives and trying to be good people, right?
And I know you said that you always went like fight to fight, but just curious if we would have talked, in the early 2000s, you're a teenager, you're sleeping on Jens's couch, you're in Iowa, all that stuff. And I would have told you like, man, it's going to be a Hall of Fame career. You're going to be UFC champion. You're going to get all these fights, 22 years, like the whole run. Would you have believed? Like, did you even allow yourself to believe this? Did you think of this? Did you dream of this? Or has this like completely blown away anything that you thought of back then?
I would have looked at you and just been like, okay, like kind of like, but really, I knew who I was. I always knew who I was, and I knew my abilities, and it was how can I go out there and show people who I am as a fighter and be the best I could be. And that's really what the process was about for me. And it was the Rory fight. I mean, push comes to shove, is a freaking battle, but he brought the best out of me, and I was able to show everyone who I was, skill wise, heart wise, and it's just always who I knew I was. Even at that age, like people would be like, "Oh, that guy's this and this," and I was like, "I know who I am." Like, just wait.
Mm.
That's kind of my mindset is like, just wait. But really, I didn't really care. I just wanted to make money and be a kid and just and fight and train and wrestle and just do what I enjoy, which was train to fight and everything around it.
Well, you did all that, my man. Congrats on a great career. Truly honored to cover you and watch all those fights all over the world and everything that you did. There was never a boring Robbie Lawler fight. You always brought it. So congrats. What a moment on International Fight Week. You deserve that. And thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. Again, I know you
Yep.
don't love doing these, but this was a real treat. And I really enjoyed it a lot. So thanks for everything, Robbie. And good luck with the coaching now. And hopefully we'll see you at the events for many years to come.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
All right, there he is, the great Robbie Lawler, ruthless Robbie Lawler. What a legend, and what a great chat. That was so lovely.